Dear colleagues, I'm Sinali Zadeh, and I'm going to give you the summary of our workshop that we have taught you about skills of editing photos in Photoshop. I'm using Adobe Photoshop CS5, and let's start with the first photo. You have to click on File, Open, select a file. Let's start with the white balance. As you know, our eyes are good in judging the exact whites of the nature, so the cameras but are not that good sometimes of capturing the exact white and exact black in the photos. So what we need to do is to adjust the white balance in our photos to eliminate that blue, orange or green cast of our photos. What you can do in Photoshop with JPEG image is to go to Image, Adjustment, Levels. Level is a tool that gives you the ability to adjust the brightness, contrast and the tonal range of your image by specifying the location of the complete black and complete white and also midtones. So here you have three tools. The one in the right is for highlights, the one in the middle is for midtones, and the one in the left is for shadows. So what you need to do is to drag the sidebar of the highlights and drag it a little bit to the left side. With this tool you are making the bright areas of your image more bleached and whiter. So then you have to drag the shadow sidebar and drag it to the right, but don't drag it too much because it will make your image too dark. What this tool does for you is to make your dark areas of your image more deeper. So what you need to do is dragging the midtone sidebar back and forth to adjust the overall brightness of your image, and select the OK. You can also do these settings by going to Image and using Auto tool, Auto Tone, Auto Contrast and Auto Color. The next thing we have to do is the contrast and brightness settings. So contrast is simply the amount of difference between the tones in an image that can significantly and visually impact the image by emphasizing the texture of it. So you have to go to Image, Adjustment, Brightness and Contrast. And here is the contrast button. You have to drag it and take it to the right. But keep an eye on the bright areas of the image to avoid overexposing your photo. You can also change the brightness of your photo, but it's not that much interesting tool for photographers and for photo editors, as it always makes your photo overexposed. If it's in severe dark conditions, so you can use it to increase the brightness of it, but I'm leaving in 0. So let's go to the color enhancement using Vibrance and Saturation tool. You have to go to Image again, Adjustment, and here is the Vibrance tool. Vibrance and Saturation are for color enhancing of the image. Let's see what saturation. Saturation is actually the color intensity of the color in your image. So by dragging the saturation sidebar and taking it to the right or left, you're enriching the colors of your image. So, but again, don't avoid making it too much and exaggerating the saturation, because it will make your photo artificial. So I'm gonna leave it around 3-4 depending on the image color. And here is the vibrance. Actually, vibrance is also setting for saturation, but the difference of vibrance and saturation is that vibrance is just is changing the saturation of lower saturated colors with less effect on higher saturated colors to avoid the oversaturated tones. So you can use drag the sidebar of vibrance and take it more than saturation to right or left to get the desired look of your image. And I'm going to click on OK. The other tool that you can use is the curve tool that actually does the same action as the levels, but it's much complicated and progressive. So one of the best and most common settings on the curves is the S-curve, but actually it depends on the type of photo you're going to edit and the exposure conditions of your photo. But what usually results in high contrast with deeper shadows and brighter highlights is the S-curve. So you have to drag this part of your curve and drop it to the top left, and this part which is for shadows, drag it and drop it to bottom right. Okay, and here it is. And you can click on preview to see the effect of the recent setting on your photo. And if you're satisfied, click on OK. The other tool that you can apply for your image is the sharpness tool. That actually sharpness describes the clarity of the details in your photo. It can be a valuable and creative tool for emphasizing the texture inside your photo. What you have to do is to go to Filter tool, come to Sharpen, and select the Unsharp Mask. Here you will see the amount sidebar and radius sidebar. The amount sidebar is the amount of sharpening that you are going to apply for your image, and radius is the intensity of the tool that you are going to brush your tool and sharpen your photo. So don't exaggerate too much on radius and the amount, because it will have the converse effect on your image and will drop the quality of your image. So you can again click on the preview to see the effect of it, or you can click on the preview window here in the Unsharp Mask tool to see the effect of before and after applying the sharpness. So I like it, and I'm going to click on OK, and here I have my image edited and it's ready to get published in the web. But the size for this image is big, so if I'm going to publish it on my Facebook or on my blog, so it's quite big, so I have to decrease the size of it. What you need to do is to go to image size, and here is the width and height of the image. As you can see, it's 3885 pixels, and here you can see the size of the image by centimeters or any other unit that you're familiar with. So the actual size of this image is 135.05 by 91. It means that this photo can be printed out without dropping the quality by the size of 137 by 91. And here is the resolution or DPI of the photo, which is 72. So I usually use 1000 or 1200 for publishing photo on web, and I'm changing it, so changing the width of it, so the height is automatically changed regarding to the width of it, and I'm going to click on OK. So let's save it as another photo, because I don't want to lose my original photo. I'm going to write resized. So here it is. While saving as your photo, you have an option for setting the quality of your photo, saving the quality of your photo. As you can see, in the maximum quality, the size of my photo is 815 kilobytes. By dropping the quality to 5, you can see that it's dropped to 136 kilobytes. So this is one of the ways for reducing the size of the image. So I'm gonna leave it in maximum quality, okay, and that's it. So let's try another photo to edit and sharpen our skills of photo editing. I'm gonna open the next photo. Here it is. So what this photo needs is a little bit setting the levels to make the button more black. So I'm gonna drag the shadow sidebar and take it to right. I don't need highlight. Yeah, I'm gonna take the midtones a little bit to right to make it darker. So I need to add a little bit color to this photo. So I'm going to select the vibrance saturation tool, drag the vibrance tool to right. I'm gonna add a little bit more saturation to it. Okay. I think it needs a little bit contrast, so let's add contrast to it. Here is the contrast. You can see the effect of it. Again, it's not that sharp and that deep in shadows and highlights, so I'm gonna select the curve tool to increase the contrast of the image. So I'm going to change the curve to S shape. Yes. Click on OK. And here is our image. You can also sharpen your image a little bit. That's better. And here is our image. Enjoy it. So let's try rotating and cropping tool. First, let's open the photo. Here is the photo that I've captured in Tabriz Bazaar with a compact camera. So as you can see, this photo is not symmetric, and in the left side we have an extra portion of it, and the horizontal line is not aligned. So the left side of the photo is a little bit higher than the right side. So what you need to do is go to image rotation. Here you have certain degrees, 180, 90 clockwise and 90 counterclockwise, but I'm going to use arbitrary, and I will try 2 degrees counterclockwise to make this photo horizontal. I think that's it. So what I need to do is to crop now the photo, because my photo has extra white portions in the left and right side. So here is the crop tool. Select it, come to the edge of the photo, click, left click on the keyboard, drag it to the other end, align with the right, left, top and bottom edges, and crop your photo. So how to crop it? After selecting your square of photo, the cropping window, you have to just left click on the anywhere inside the cropping window and your image will be cropped. And here is the image, but I need to crop it more to make it symmetric. As you can see, this window in the left side and this window in the right side are not aligned. So I'm going to crop it from the second column of the window. And here it is. What else we have to do? We have to enhance the color, a little bit sharpness, levels. So let's try auto tone. first auto tone, auto contrast, and auto color. So let me go to vibrance tool and set the vibrance and saturation of the image. I'm going to drag the vibrance and take it to right, and also add a little bit saturation to photo. Okay. What I need to do is to set the S-curve to this image. So drag the highlight point to up and shadow point down to have high contrast photo. You can also add a little bit more contrast with brightness and contrast tool. Drag the contrast sidebar and take it to right. Okay. And here is the image. You can save it or go to file and save as it as new file or edited file. Edited. And set the quality to highest quality and click on OK. One of the common problems of digital cameras in low light conditions, especially the compact cameras, is the noise problem. That they add some colored dots or black and white dots into image in low light conditions. Especially it happens when you're using high ISO speed. So here you can see the colored dots that reduce the quality of the image and reduce the detail and the texture of the image. So what you can do for eliminating these dots is to use noise reduction tool. Unfortunately, Photoshop doesn't have any predefined tool for deleting these noise, but with some few steps you can easily install the noise reduction add-on to your Photoshop. What I'm using here is the Imaginamic Noiseware Professional tool that you can find it online and install it easily into your Photoshop. So I'm gonna click on it. Here it gives a preview of my image, and you can see the if I'm gonna click on my image, it will show me the previous condition, and when I'm dropping it, it's going to new condition. So you can see that it has eliminated the noise in my image. So I'm gonna click on OK, and the noises are gone. And here I have a neat, clean, noise-free image. Sometimes in an image you need to change your image to black and white to emphasize more on your desired subject rather than the chaotic environment around your subject. So here, as you can see, a guy is sleeping in a street, and I want to emphasize more on this guy rather than the colored background guys sitting in the street. So you can easily change your colored image to black and white by going to Image, Adjustment, and desaturate your photo. And here is your black and white photo. Again, you have to do the same procedure to set your levels, curves, contrast to have good looking photos. So I'm gonna drag the shadow sidebar to right to make it a little bit more, the shadows more deeper. I don't need highlight, just a little bit. Okay, and that's it. Let me go to curves to change the curve to S shape to have more contrast. Okay. I can also add the contrast to my photo. Here I'm going to teach you another tool to selectively darken a portion of your photo. If you come to this hand tool and right click on it, a small window will open here. that you can see touch tool, burn tool, and sponge tool. So I'm gonna click on burn tool, that darkens the selected area, the size of the tool that I have. So here you can change the size of the tool. You can see it's going to be bigger and bigger. Okay, and I'm gonna play with background to make them a little bit more darker, to make contrast of my subject and background, and bring it front. And here, as you can see, the background is darker. You can also add vignetting to 4 sides of your image by darkening the corners of your image. In this way your corners will be darker. You can increase the intensity of your tool by dragging this exposure tool to the right, and here it makes more darker corners. And here we go. And that's it. I'm gonna remind you the patch tool and selective editing within the portrait editing techniques. So in order to get rid of any flaw on your image, or in portrait case the acne from the face, you can use the patch tool here in the left toolbox. Just select it, come to your image, keep the left key of your mouse and select the acne, drag it and take it to the place of the skin that you want to replace the color of the current place on previous selected place. So, and drop it, and your acne will be gone. I'm gonna do it for the next of the flaws, and eliminate them one by one. So in this case the face will be soft and acne free. So let's look for any other pimples or acne in the face. And here it is. Let's go back for portrait editing techniques. Here we need to adjust the tones of image. If you want, you can use the auto tone, auto contrast, and auto color. But as you can see, auto color didn't work in this image and add a blue cast to my image. So I'm gonna undo it by keeping the control and pushing the Z button. So now I'm gonna set the vibrance and saturation of my photo, increase the vibrance to make the colors more vivid. Here it is. I'm gonna change the curve to S shape to make the contrast much deeper in this photo. Here it is. So let's go to selective editing. Here what you can do is selecting the eyes and sharpening the eyes specifically. I mean, not the whole face, just the eyes. So what you need to do is go to select this lasso tool, keep the left key of your mouse and drag around the eye to select the whole eye. I'm gonna select the first eye, left eye, and here the left eye is selected, but I want to add the right eye to left eye to apply sharpness to both of them together. So what I need to do is to, after selecting the left eye, I need to keep the shift button and at the same time start to select the right eye by keeping the left button of the mouse and drag around the right eye. And here is the right eye selected. So what I need to do is to go to filter and sharpen, unsharp mask. So here I can add the sharpness to my model's eye, and as you can see the difference before and after, the eyes are gonna be more sharp. So I'm gonna, after selecting it, don't forget to deselect your selection area by going to select menu and deselect it. Otherwise your other editing won't apply to your image. So I'm gonna deselect it, zoom back. Now it's time to soften a little bit the skin of it. So skin of my model. So again with the lasso tool, I'm gonna select the whole face of my model by keeping the left mouse key and dragging around the whole face. Okay, it's selected. Because softening will also soften the eyes, I don't want to lose the sharpness of the eye. So I'm gonna deduct the eyes from my face selection. So what you need to do is to keep the Alt button to deduct the portion of the image from the selection area. So what you need to do is to keep the Alt key and deduct the eyes from your selection. Here is the right eye and this is the left eye. I also don't want to lose the sharpness of the eyebrows, so I'm also deducting them. If you want, you can also deduct the lips. Another portion of it. Okay. So, one of the tools that is not in Photoshop primarily, but you can add it easily to your Photoshop, is the tool named again from company named Imaginimic Portraiture. So after selecting the face and deducting the eyes, eyebrows and lips, you have to click on Portraiture, and the software automatically will apply the softening tools to your model's skin. I'm going to change it to smoothing high to increase the smoothing option, and here you can see the effect of it, and the software will show you. You can see the before and after by clicking on your image. I'm going to select an OK, and the modification will apply to my image. If you want, you can keep on doing this, keep on smoothing your model's skin for 2 or 3 times, but don't exaggerate too much because you will lose the sharpness of the skin. So again, what you have to do is to go to select menu and deselect your selection, and here is your model edited with the vivid colors and high contrast, and that's it. The other common usage for selective editing is for changing a portion of the image to black and white and keeping the most important part, or the part that you want to emphasize on it, in color. So what you need to do is selecting the part of your image and make the rest of the image black and white. So what you need to do is to go to these selecting tools. You can use the lasso tool if your object is simple and small, but if it's complicated, lots of lines and curves on it, you can use magnetic lasso tool, that it will select automatically the circumference of your image by dragging the mouse key around it. So I'm going to select the magnetic lasso tool. I have to zoom a little bit to have more control on selecting. So I'm going to start from here by clicking the left key of the mouse and just dragging the mouse key without doing anything, and it will select the borders for me. But in case the magnetic lasso tool selected a wrong selection like this, what you need to do is to push the delete key, and the last point will be deleted, and you can go again and do your dragging procedure to select the right parts of your image. And even you can use click of the left key to go small selecting portions. So I'm gonna select all the body. To reduce the time of selecting, I have a full selection of this image here. So here it is. So what you need to do after selecting the monk, here is in orange, I want to make the rest of the environment black and white. But if I go to image desaturate, it will desaturate the monk itself. So what I need to do is to undo it, go to select menu and inverse my selection. And now the rest of the image rather than the monk is selected. So now I can go to image, adjustment, and desaturate the rest of the image but the monk. Again, you don't have to forget to deselect. And here you have the emphasize on the monk smoking the cigarette, and whatever you have. I mean, you can also have the kids playing with their toes, or you have a flower that you want to keep the color of it and make the rest of the environment black and white. And now what you can do is to enhance the colors a bit to make the orange more live. Add a little bit contrast to your image. Change the curve to S-curve shape. Highlights up. Shadows down. It's too much. Okay. And here is your selective editing technique. The other interesting tool in Photoshop that acts like a patch tool, but it's automatic and it helps you to eliminate the parts of the image or the things that you don't want to be in your image. For example, in this case, I don't want to have this guy here in the left side of my image. So what I need to do is to go to select the lasso tool, select the guy by left clicking and dragging the tool, the mouse around the guy. And what you need to do is to go inside, right click and click on the fill tool. And after clicking OK, the Photoshop will automatically delete the guy there. And here we go. He's not there. one of the other interesting tools of Photoshop is the panorama tool and the progressive algorithms of it to stitch the photos together and build a big, appealing panorama. So what you need to do is to have the previously captured photos like this. I have here 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 photos. So what I need to do is to go to File, Automate, and Photo Merge. Click on it, and the window will open. All you need to do is select your photos. It doesn't matter if they're in the order or not. The Photoshop itself will find the exact photo in the exact part and stitch them together. So I'm going to click on OK and OK. And Photoshop will start to do the process of stitching photos together. It will first open photos and then stitch them together. You have to wait, it may take a few minutes. But bear in mind that any of your photos that you're capturing for your panorama, they should have some common space between each other. I mean, the first image and second image, they should have a common portion of each other, at least for 30% or 40%. So, and my recommendation for portrait photography is to take your photos in portrait mode, not in landscape mode, because when you take the panorama shots in landscape mode, your resulted panorama will be long and with short height. So if you capture them in portrait mode, you will have not only the long width of your photo, but also a reasonable height of your photo for your panorama. So here is the software blending the layers and photos to each other, and after a while we will have our panorama created. And here it is. So you can see that the software stretched the photos to stitch all the photos together. So all you need to do is to go to crop button, select it, and select the biggest possible portion of your panorama. So I'm going to take it down, and here is our panorama. So the other step that you need to do is to go to layers. Here you can see 4 photos beside each other. So what you need to do is to right click on it and merge all layers together to have a single JPEG photo. So I merge the photos together, and the boundaries are not there anymore. So now I can apply my editing to my image. Before merging them, I cannot edit the whole image altogether. So now what I need to do is to select the auto tone again if you want, or manual adjusting the levels. So I'm gonna select the auto tone. Here you can see the difference. Auto contrast and auto color. Let's see the result. Okay, that's good. Let's go back to curves button to increase the contrast by changing the highlights and shadows curve. Here you can see the difference. I'm going to click on OK. Change the vibrance and saturation to have more striking colors. I'm going to increase saturation a little bit. Because the photo is big, so it takes time to apply the setting to it. Here you can change the sharpness to add more sharpness to your photo if you want. I'm doing it. Let's decrease the radius and the amount of sharpness to still have the quality. And if you want, you can also add a little bit contrast to it. And there we go. You have your panorama stitched together and edited in the bigger size. So you can save your image, change it to JPEG, and save it. I want it in high quality, and select on OK, and it will give you the export photo. So thank you for your attention. Wish you luck. Wish me luck, please. Bye.